Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is our ProLink HFA webinar series we're kicking off for 2025. We're going to be talking about taking advantage of TCA allocation cycles utility to support your QAP today. So we appreciate you joining us. For our agenda, I'm going to cover just a couple slides on who ProLink is. We're going to have an introduction to TCA allocation cycles, and then our frequently asked questions. Today's presenters, so I'm Bree Kruder, I'm the Executive Vice President for ProLink, and I'm joined by Tom Dang, who's our Senior Solutions Consultant, part of our professional services team. Okay, let's talk about ProLink for just a minute before I hand things off to Tom. For those of you who might be new to ProLink, we have been in the affordable housing industry supporting state and local housing finance agencies, tax credit syndicators and investors and developers with our products for over 25 years. Our goal is really to support those different parties by connecting us together with efficient processes and really bringing that data to a efficient place as well. We're all tracking similar information and trying to responsibly manage and build affordable housing. And that's really what the basis of our tools are meant to support and improve. So we've been doing this for a very long time, and our team is dedicated to our mission, dedicated to the cause of affordable housing, the need that we have there. And we are technology driven. We are a technology company, so we try to bring best practice and the latest and greatest that we can offer to this industry, maintaining business best practice as well that we've come to learn and understand through our client involvement in our user group and other avenues, having supported this industry as long as we have. Go ahead, Tom. This is just a quick highlight of the agencies that we support with ProLinkHFA. So we have 20 agency clients. Our latest clients who are going through implementation right now include Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency and Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation. So those are the latest that have come on board. We also support 2 supportive services agencies with ProLinkHFA. This is a highlight. I just wanted kind of a high level view of the modules that we offer through ProLinkHFA. So we're going to focus our webinar today on the development and tax credit modules. Those combined really support your origination phase of your deal life cycle. Development would support other funding sources outside of tax credits. And then we have our TCA module for our tax credit management and origination process. And then separate from that, we have our module for asset management and compliance, which we'll start to introduce towards the end of this webinar series, kind of in the fall timeframe this year. We're really going to be focusing on the development tax credit allocation kind of origination process for the majority of our webinars through this year, with support from our professional services team members like Tom, really highlighting business cases and using direct client conversations, interviews, and projects that we're working on in these areas to influence the content that we share through this webinar series. Just another note before I hand things off to Tom, this series in the past has, I think, amounted to about 45 minutes in length. We have reduced these webinars to 30 minutes this year, so it's going to be a little bit shorter. So go ahead, Tom, and we will move forward into the presentation. I'm going to hand it off to you. Thank you, guys, and I'll wrap it up at the end. So enjoy today's topic.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Bree. All right. Well, again, my name's Tom Dang, and I'm a senior solutions consultant with ProLinkHFA. Thank you all for being here. And as Bree mentioned, ProLinkHFA does come with multiple modules that support your needs to manage affordable housing programs. And sometimes our users can get confused about the different modules. You know, we often hear questions about what the difference is between dev development or TCA modules. It's a fair question, but overall, both dev and TCA modules support your deal origination stage, with the TCA module more heavily focused on tax credit deals specifically. So, in this year's webinar series, we want to directly respond to your questions and inquiries about our different modules, really focusing on dev and TCA for this year. And we want to talk about specific functionalities, common issues, or frequently asked questions like this one you're seeing, curious about TCA allocation cycle utility, or how does ProLink support me in managing housing trust fund and home programs? Or how do I track credit amounts allocated for a TCA deal and link it to the 9% allocation cycle? These are just some sample questions we have received, and we really want to hone in on answering those common questions. And so for this year, as we mentioned, we will be focusing on TCA module between February through May. This month, it will be allocation cycle utility for 9%, 4% deals. And it will be allocation cycle for special programs, state LIHTC in March, and tax form allocation, tax form automation, such as A609, A610, or Schedule A in May. Those are TCA specific. And then for dev module, we'll be going over different functionalities from June through September. We'll talk about HTF program, home program, diversity tracking, and inclusionary zoning. And then in October, we're planning to focus our last webinar of the year, really, on portfolio property data update utility, which will transition to our focus on portfolio property or asset management compliance module for the webinar series next year. We do like the opportunity to meet with you in between these webinars to gather your feedback, receive your questions. Maybe you would have further questions about what we present today. And we really want to address them in the next webinar. So please reach out to me, to Bree, or anyone in our team, and we definitely can set those meetings up. But yeah, with that, I will jump into our topic for today. TCA allocation cycle utility. Again, the TCA module or tax credit allocation module, it focuses on the aspects of deal intake, deal origination, and underwriting of your tax credit deals through construction, and to hand off to asset management or compliance module. And in the TCA module, the TCA allocation cycle utility help manage your allocation cycle and rounds in a calendar year. I would imagine now it's the beginning of the year and they're starting to ramp up. So we definitely want you to understand about this utility and what it does. Some example can be in a 4% non-competitive cycle, 9% competitive round in a year, your state LIHTC program, if you offer it, or some other special programs in your state. And this utility does help manage different aspects of your QAP, such as your rounds timeline, credit pools, project scoring criteria, very important, return credits that's applied, and so on. We'll go over these in more details in the next few slides here. What to begin with, when you actually create a allocation cycle in the utility, there will be different tabs that correspond to the type of the cycle. This one on screen here, tax credit authority 9% tab, it would correspond to your 9% cycle. This tab is used to manage different details of your 9% credit allocation cycle, such as per capita credits. What's the allocated per capita credit for your state for this year? National pool credits, if there are some unused credits that is allocated to your state, pre-allocation, if that's applicable. But ultimately, this screen is used to calculate your net credits available that you are seeing here. So total credits that is available for you to allocate to 9% deal. I think that is really important to know and to track, and it's just helpful to have it in the system. The next tab here is pools. So as I mentioned before in your QAP, if you have different targets, different pools, this tab can help manage your different allocation there. It could be area focused. So on screen here, I think you're seeing an example of maybe some regional pool setup here, some rural pool or small MSA pools. It's fairly straightforward. You enter a allocation percentage, and then the credits available will be calculated for you based on what was entered before in the Tax Credit Authority tab. And it can be anything really. It can be area focused, it can be development type focused, or for profit versus non-profit developer, and so on. And just want to note that this tab is only available for 9% competitive and non-competitive cycle types. Now, next one is deal screen. This is really a data view screen, so it shows the most relevant details on all of the deals that are assigned to your cycle, to this specific cycle. So it does show, the deals, the counties, HFA, deal number, and then allocated credit amounts, of course. The total allocated credits is calculated here, as you can see at the bottom of the screenshot, at the bottom of the real screen in the software. And this number can be used to compare to the net credits available number in the tab that I was going over before. That is really the focal point of this utility. If you in case if you do have two 9% competitive round, it's helpful to calculate the credits left for the next round. So we do recommend that. You can do a calculation in maybe an Excel file and then upload that to our file tab here. And I also want to know that if you don't see this total number, if you're following along in your software, and if you don't see this total allocated credits number in the screen, it must be set up in the admin panel by personnel with admin privilege. So definitely reach out to us if you need further direction on how to set this up. Also, you can see scoring here. The scoring details is available per deal as well. Very important to track the total score for each deal in this cycle. We'll go over that in more details later on. All right, and before I jump into the frequently asked question, I want to just flip over here to our HFA environment and just kind of click through what I was talking about a little bit. Again, the allocation cycles utility can be found here under the utilities panel under TCA. You can click on allocation cycles and your cycles will be here. You can add new cycle for this year, let's say. And when you add the new cycle, you'll be asked to fill out the cycle year, cycle type was what I was talking about, 9%, 4%, or special programs, cycle name, description, description can actually be very helpful. Folks can just go in and see, okay, I mean, if it's not 9%, if it's special program, you can write some description here, for example. And so this is a 9% competitive cycle example. So I'll flip over here to the Tax Credit Authority 9% tab. This is what I was going over here. We have per capita credits, national pool credits, and yeah, net credits available calculated. We have the pool screen. I think in this example, I just set up this one allocation pools here. Again, it can be set up however you want, just to track your different targets in your QAP. And then we have the deals screen as well. Again, in the deal screen, it's a data view screen, and it does show mainly the allocated amount, allocated credit amount, the scoring. And please note that this view is the default, but you can definitely create new data views, custom data views as needed. Okay, all right. I will flip back here and we'll go over some of the frequently asked questions. Now, the first one is relatively simple. How do I assign my TCA deals into a TCA cycle? So first, you want to make sure that you have created the cycle for this year in that TCA allocation cycle utility. Relatively simple. You don't really need to fill out that many data points. And once you have created the cycle, when you get to creating the tax credit deal, TCA deal, there will be a required input here for the cycle pick list. So you can just assign the cycle right here. And in the rare case that the TCA cycle need to be updated, maybe the deal doesn't qualify for 9% credit, but it does qualify for 4%, and you want to move that to the 4% cycle, you can do so in the edit deal screen for your TCA deal. How do I manage two 9% competitive rounds in a year? So per design for now, only one type of cycle is allowed per year. So that really means there can only be one 9% competitive cycle in 2024, for example. So both rounds of your 9% cycle would need to be within the one cycle that we're showing. And, I mean, it's helpful because the national pool credit for your cycle for the year is really just tracked in that one cycle. But we are working internally, and there may be some updates in the near future where you might be able to create actually two 9% competitive rounds if you really want to track it separately. But that's an update that we will go over in the next webinars. And then I would just want to mention here other cycle types such as special program will be a focus for our next webinar in March. So it can help you manage your different programs, not 9%, 4%, or your state LIHTC program as well. Now, this one is how do I populate allocated credit in the deal screen? So this can only be done via SmartDocs. For those of you who don't know, SmartDocs is our software, our add-in to Excel that helps you map data fields in your Excel straight to our HFA environment. And so here, the way you can populate the allocate credit is using this credit amount issued field under TCA Property Current Stage node. And information will show up in this screen, in the deal screen here, as well as the individual screen, the TCA current stage under this multi-year tracking tab. I'll go ahead and flip over here to our environment to show you what I'm talking about. Again, here are the allocated credit amounts per deal, only done via SmartDocs. And you can see it on here. I think in this example, I have North Cottages. And again, you can see that number in this TCA current stage panel under multi-year tracking tab. So this credit issued amount is the same with the allocated amount there. So this 280,000 is the same number that you see in the TCA cycle utility. And I just want to do a quick exercise here. I'll flip over to a very simple SmartDocs example that I have. Here we have allocated credits amount. Let me just clear some of these out. That's for a later example. But those of you who are more familiar with our SmartDocs, you can see here that I am mapping to this credit amount issued field under TC property current stage node. Now I have it at 280,000. Let me just update it to 290 and do a send, and we can see the results. Just logging in here and so once I do the send, this 290 should be updated in the system in both screens that I was sharing. I'll do a send here. Okay, all right. I'll flip back here to system. Just do a refresh. And yeah, okay. So the allocated amount has been updated. Again, I want to mention it is only be done via SmartDocs, and that should help you track your allocated amount per deal. Okay, I'll flip back here to our slides. The next one is how do I track scoring for my deals in the cycle? So I briefly mentioned that we track the scoring here per deal, and this can also only be done via SmartDocs. So if you have a scoring and ranking Excel file, for example, that's definitely something you can SmartDocs into the system. We do have two options. We have our scoring fields, or you can use UDFs as well. UDF is user-defined fields, and the information will show up in this screen. This is only showing the total score, and the scoring data view, though, will show the individual scoring criteria. And I'll just go over them here. Flipping back to our environment. Again, yeah, the total score per deal will be available here so that you can really see all of your deals in the cycle and how they rank among the cycle. And for the individual scores under this data view, panel under TCA, you can go to property scores, and the individual scoring criteria will be available per deal, so that you can see, the underlying details. I want to just do a quick example here for North Cottage. I'm going to map these four deals, four scores here from the SmartDocs sample. So again, they were blank, but this is just some quick example of how you can store your scoring per deal in the system. So I'll do a send here for these different mandatory items. Okay. You can note that I'm mapping to mandatory items A through D, but I want to mention how we can customize them, because of course it's not going to be mandatory items A through D. It will be your specific scoring criterias. And here, North Cottage, this has been updated. You can see here mandatory item C and D is the same name, but these A and B is different. That's the way we can customize the data view headers so that it actually show your scoring criteria rather than some standard names in the system. So it's more customized to match your scoring criteria in your QAP. Okay, all right. And so with that, I think we are through our frequently asked question. There are many other features that I haven't been able to mention. We have return credits. You can track credits returned by deals that couldn't use them. We have multi-year tracking to track credits allocation across different cycles for a deal. There's carryover allocation details as well that can be found in the individual deal screens. There's deal management that can help you effectively manage multiple deals assigned to a cycle. You can terminate several deals that don't meet the scoring criteria. Fees administration help you manage fees that's applicable to your cycle. The cycle notes tab can be a good way for you to store maybe some notes or details that are related to your cycle, or maybe even the password to your pro forma application, that can be lost easily. So it's just helpful to store it in the system. Files attachments, you can store your QAP or your application there for safekeeping or record keeping. So as your allocation cycles are starting to ramp up, please definitely reach out to me or to anyone at ProLink if you have questions and are interested in learning more. So with that, I'll pass it back to Bree.
Thanks, Tom. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining this webinar. I just wanted to provide a quick announcement for our next one, so you can go ahead and register for this before hopping off today. So next month on March 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, it's a Wednesday, we're going to cover supporting state tax credit programs using the special program cycle type in the TCA allocation module. So that session is going to be led by Ryan Kim, who's our VP of Professional Services. Some of the topics that we'll be just kind of covering during that time together, exploring use cases of special program cycle types in TCA allocation cycle, and how to set up TCA deals to support state LIHTC. With that, thank you very much for attending today, and we will see you next month. Have a good